There's an online world where I am king of a little website dedicated to me, with pictures of me and a list of my friends and an unofficial record of the groups that I'm in. Before the internet, friendship was so tough. You actually had to be in people's presence and stuff. Who would have thought that with a point and a click, I would know that Hope Floats is your favorite flick?
Welcome to the Dangers of Facebook. And that cool little song was written and sung by Rhett and Link. I'm Robin Saunders. Most of you know me, and cybersecurity education is my passion. I actually provide you with 3 different websites that you can go to get some really good things about cybersecurity, as well as a book called Cybersecurity for the Digitally Challenged that is free to download on my CyberSafe Senior website. Now, 10 years ago, very few people would have predicted that seniors would become some of social media's most passionate users. But a study last year by the Pew Research Center found that 67% of online seniors are on Facebook, and it's only on the rise. And as more and more seniors use social media, there are a lot of safety concerns. Facebook has been in our lives since 2004. That is 15 years ago. Wow, how time flies. And it has become the largest social network in the world. Part of the reason is that it is free to join because the company makes its money from advertisements on the site. Now that's good and that's bad. Facebook is great. It lets you stay in touch with everyone from your old high school friends, your colleagues, your family, and no matter where they are in the world, you can still see them and talk with them, well, on Facebook, every day. But like any social network, it also has some risks, and that's why I'm here. Facebook is not a private place. And I'm going to repeat that several times throughout this presentation. It's definitely not a private place. You may have all of your Facebook privacy settings configured to allow only your friends to see your content, but never forget that hackers can also get a glimpse of your very personal information. And Facebook is also a place where anyone can pretend to be your friend. And when you first joined Facebook, you might have gotten a lot of friend requests, and it might be tempting to accept them all. After all, you don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but it's important to remember that who you have allowed to be your friends and who's going to be looking at your page. Remember, once again, nothing is really private on Facebook. If by mistake you've accepted a friend request from someone you don't really know, they actually might be your enemy. Here's a short podcast that I created for CyberSafe seniors. Be suspicious. Fake friend requests are a constant threat on Facebook, and the person making the request may be after information that you don't want to share with a stranger. Hackers and scammers are very tricky, and there are a variety of reasons that these hackers and scammers might want your information. Some are harmless and some are malicious. Here are 5 types of people that might want to send you a fake friend request. The first are scammers. The scammers create fake Facebook profiles and request to be your friend to gain access to personal information that you restrict to friends only. This information may include your contact information for spamming or other personal information that might be helpful in setting you up for a phishing attack. Malicious linkers send you links to malware or phishing sites that end up in your Facebook newsfeed after you accept the friend request. Catfishers are people that use the internet and online dating websites to lure you into a scam romance. And the goal of these catfishers is to develop an online relationship with you so you will give them money. What they usually do is they create these elaborate online profiles that use pictures of models in an attempt to hook you into looking for love online. They may send out random friend requests to a huge number of people before finding a willing victim. And don't forget current spouses, girlfriends, or boyfriends that might want to test your fidelity in an unscrupulous manner. They may resort to creating a false profile with an attractive profile picture to test you by seeing if you respond to suggestive posts or chats. Your spouse could record this information with the intent of using it against you later. And finally, all exes, ex-wives, ex-husbands, ex-girlfriends, ex-boyfriends, if your relationship ended badly and you unfriended the person, you may think your ex is out of your circle of Facebook friends. However, your ex can find a way back to you at Facebook by creating a false profile and friending you using this alias. So, what do? How do you spot a fake friend request? Well, here are some clues. First, ask yourself a few questions to determine if the friend request might be fake. Number 1, do you know the requester or have some friends in common? If your answer is no, you have your first clue. If you can't recall meeting the person in real life or meeting them through any mutual friends, then the friend request may have been sent to you under false pretenses. Check the person's friend list to see if it's viewable. Click on mutual friends to see if there's anybody that you both know. Check with your mutual friends to see if they actually know the person. Number 2, is the friend request from an attractive person of the opposite sex? Any man or woman who gets a random friend request from a beautiful person he or she doesn't know has to suspect that it might be a scam. A friend request with a picture of an attractive person posing provocatively is the bait often used by people who create fake friend requests. Number 3, does the request come from a person with a limited Facebook history? If, according to their Facebook timeline, the person joined Facebook a short time ago, this is a clue that the friend request may be bogus. Most legitimate Facebook users have a long history on their timeline, dating back several years. Fake profiles are often created quickly, and most profiles indicate when the person joined Facebook. If the requester's Facebook account and timeline was created 12 days ago, then the person is likely trying to scam you. Number 4, does the person have an unusually large or small numbers of friends and they're all the same sex? Fake profiles may have an extremely small or impossibly large number of friends on their friends list. They probably have spent very little effort setting up the fake profile, or they've sent a ton of friend requests out and received a ton back. Look at the friends list. Depending upon who the person is behind the fake profile and who they're targeting, you'll see that all the friends are predominantly of the same sex, opposite to that of the requester. If the request is from a woman targeting men, expect mostly all men in her friends list. Instead, most people have a mix of men and women, and you would expect that from a real person. And finally, look at the content on their page. Is there very little personal content on their timeline? You probably won't see a lot of day-to-day activity on a fake profile because it takes effort to generate real content. You may see some pictures and maybe some links, but probably won't see a lot of location check-ins or status updates. So next time you receive a random friend request, ask yourself these questions and use the answers to determine whether or not you've just spotted a fake friend request. When in doubt, the best action is not to accept the request. Email or call your friend to see if the request is authentic. Next, many of us post content on Facebook almost every day. We post vacation pictures, a picture of a delicious dinner at a fabulous restaurant, pictures of our family, pictures of an awesome new car that we might like to have, and we also post comments on lots of issues that are important to us. But you might be posting too much. The more you post, the more information the hackers have about you to help them figure out the perfect scam to try to tempt you. Most of us know to avoid posting things that might get us in trouble with our partner, our boss, or the police. Remember, one of the first things employers do when they're looking at a job applicant is to find them on Facebook. Many applicants have had their jobs rescinded after posting some inappropriate content, so be very careful. You also might be providing information to the hackers in a much more insidious way. Remember that I said that Facebook makes its money from ad revenue. They sell advertising spots to vendors who then market their products. One of the products is data that is captured from you when you provide answers to those tempting Facebook quizzes and surveys. Facebook actually allows something called third-party applications whose purpose it is to harvest your data. A third-party application is created by a developer that isn't the manufacturer of the device that the application runs on or the owner of the website that offers it. And these applications have been known to misuse your email, address, and your data. Because remember, cyber criminals only need a little bit of your personal information to take over your identity and apply for store credit cards or even commit crimes in your name. And researchers have found that some of the links of these third-party applications will also download ransomware or unwanted target advertising or spam and a whole lot more. An example of a third-party application is Quizstar. It actually requires your permission to access certain parts of your Facebook profile, but this type of third-party app isn't downloaded. Instead, the app is granted access to potentially sensitive information through the connection to another service or app, and in this case, it's Facebook. Remember, it's important to carefully consider which third-party applications you allow on your Facebook account. Now, social media quizzes are especially popular on Facebook, and they seem innocent enough, but taking the quiz might mean that you're giving away more about yourself than you originally thought. And when you pass the quiz to your friends, they're also giving up their personal information for free to strangers. These quizzes ask seemingly silly and useless questions, but the hackers can use the information to penetrate your social media accounts and gain access to your personal information or the information of your friends and family. Do you really want the hackers to know that the name of your first boyfriend was Vandy? Or that you have 7 siblings? Well, probably not. But the latest news shows that it isn't just the scammers who are interested in the quiz answers. It turns out your personal information is big business. These social media quizzes are trying to trick you because they're free, and if there is no charge, then the value is the data they collect. Just remember that. The value is in the data that they collect. Not all social media quizzes are about unprincipled data collection, but users need to be careful about what they share online. Profile data, quiz answers, and more can be used to steal your money or let a scammer pretend to be you in order to steal someone else's money. And now you know that seemingly innocent information can even be used to build a profile on you that can be sold to anyone trying to influence society. Here's a short video that I created to teach you about these scams. Would you tell a perfect stranger what your name was, what your email address is? How about your telephone number, your favorite color? I don't think so, and you don't want to do that online either. I'm Robin Saunders, and this is CyberSafe Seniors. I don't know about you, but I use Facebook almost every day, and I also use other sites that will kind of tempt me with the survey. And today what I want to talk to you about is sharing your personal information in the form of these surveys or these social games that we play on Facebook, all of which are designed to gather data about you. And the more someone knows about you, the easier it is to hack your account. So it is fun. It is fun to go on and see those wonderful Facebook surveys. I think I saw one this morning on what is your favorite color? But I really don't want Google or anybody else to know what my favorite color is, because what they're going to do is they're going to use it in target marketing for you. It's very difficult to figure out who is actually sending you those surveys. Now, I know sometimes my friends and relatives will forward a fun survey to me. What are the top 10 things people should know about you? And of course, I don't answer them. Most of the time, it's a company or even an individual or a group of data analysts who are trying to gather information about you. And the more surveys you answer and the more you participate, the more information you're giving away. Now, if privacy is important to you, don't answer any of these surveys. When you're taking these surveys, always think about whether or not you would really be sharing that information with somebody you don't even know, because when you're answering these surveys, you're sharing it with people that you don't know, and you don't know what they're going to do with that information. Sometimes the surveys are designed by people on Facebook that just want to try to hack your accounts. And what they're doing is they're gathering as much information as they can about you, because the more personal information they figure out about you, the easier it is to hack your account and to impersonate you. It's a lot of fun and it's very interesting to answer some of these surveys, but don't be tempted, because first of all, in the least possible way, you are going to be providing information to people or companies you don't even know that is very personal to you. And second of all, if there happens to be a link in the survey, it could take you to a nefarious site where scammers are trying to give them more personal information, or actually scammers are able to download malware onto your computer. Before you give your friends 40 odd things about you, think about the fact that you are giving those 40 odd things about you to total strangers. Now, your friends might be reacting on Facebook, but that information is going way beyond the borders of Facebook. Now, if you aren't a Facebook user and you happen to be on a website, I do a lot of crafting. I absolutely love, for example, a company called Cricut, and it makes a cool machine so that I can basically cut my own birthday cards and make all kinds of other very interesting things. Most of you probably aren't interested in that. But anyway, all of a sudden, in the middle of a session when I'm trying to learn about their products, there'll be a survey that will pop up. Never answer those pop-up surveys, because first of all, the company does not participate in surveys normally. And second of all, what happens is if they're doing any sort of advertising, some of these advertisers will be trying to collect data on you so that they can sell you things. And your personal data is worth a lot of money to a lot of people that you don't know. My advice to you is user beware. Before filling out any sort of a survey or a cool little blip about yourself to your friends, think about who you're sharing that information with. It may look like it's a lot of fun, but it can come back to haunt you in a big way.
Well, the good news is that you can change your Facebook privacy settings to remove these applications from your account and even block them from contacting you in the future. But try not to be tempted by those innocent-looking surveys and cute little quizzes. Now, back to Facebook and how Facebook makes money. The quizzes and surveys collect the data, but the ads are also a problem too. They may be stealing your money.
You may have heard about those crowdfunding sites like GoFundMe. This is a website that people or organizations can go to ask other people for money to support the cause. Well, there are also websites where entrepreneurs can get crowdsourcing funding and microfinancing. They're places that investors can access to decide if they want to support the invention or the concept. And most are what's called reward-based sites because they give the early investor a price break on the purchase of the final invention or product. If you invest early in the process, you get a price break. These are sites like Kickstarter and Indiegogo. You may not have heard about them, but go and check them out. Well, a devious new scam is sweeping Facebook. Have you seen those ads that pop up in your Facebook feed? I have, and some are amazing deals on incredible products. Recently, I saw an underwater drone for $179, and I was hooked. What I didn't know at the time was that the scammers are taking advantage of these crowdfunding sites like Kickstarter and Indiegogo, stealing photos and videos and posting them on Facebook as their own products. And if you click on the link to find out more about the product, it takes you to a professional looking website. And after you enter your personal information, your payment information, and your shipping address, you will never receive the product, or you'll receive one that is a poor knockoff of the original. Yes, I did fall victim and I spent $179 and received absolutely nothing. The crafty scammers would email me periodically with shipping updates, and they were fake. After 4 months of delayed shipping notifications, the emails stopped. Just enough time for the scammers to walk off with my money. And when I went to the original site where I ordered the drone, surprise! It was gone. There are two clear warning signs that these ads are a scam. First, if the offer seems too good to be true, then it probably is. Put the product name directly into your search bar. Search for the product on the web. Search on Amazon. See if the product actually exists, because most of them do not. When you click on the link on the ad, carefully look at the address of the website that it's taking you to. It's usually some sort of weird address that you don't even recognize, usually gibberish, because remember, many of these scammers do not speak English well. The link to purchase the item directs the users to some seemingly randomly generated URL that usually has an extension at the end like .site or .shop. These are hastily set up websites that are designed to take your money and get your personal information. I got scammed, and I want to make sure that you don't.
I did get scammed. And I'm pretty good at looking at things, but I wasn't careful about looking at that URL. And as the moral of the story says, think before you click. If it seems too good to be true, then it probably is. Next, I want to talk about Facebook Messenger. And most of you know Facebook Messenger is an instant messaging feature built into Facebook, and it allows you to connect with your friends and send instant messages. You can send emojis, photos, videos, and links to other sites. Here's a short video that I created to help you avoid getting scammed.
Many of you use Facebook. I do. I love it. I keep in touch with my family and my friends and watch for wonderful posted pictures of my grandchildren. Actually, this morning I saw the cutest picture of my little granddaughter going off to tennis camp in her cute little uniform, and it really made me smile. But there's something called Facebook Messenger that is an application that goes with Facebook, and some of you might use it. It's an instant messaging app. It's very handy. You can immediately get information to your friends. You can actually send pictures and you can send little videos, and you can do it fairly privately, but just remember that nothing on Facebook is private, even if you have your privacy settings set. So be very careful. But hackers have really gotten a hold of Facebook messaging, and they're sending out all kinds of hoax links. And what will happen is if you click on one of these links, you'll be taken to a place that may download some malware on your computer that could actually look at your keystrokes to try to find out your passwords, take a hold of your video camera, do all kinds of annoying and very cyber threat things to your computer. Other links will take you to places that will try to gather your personal information, and you really don't want to have anything to do with them. There's a lot of group messaging going on. Every single day I receive a message that says, hey, Happy New Year, and please pass this on to someone else. Or if you love your grandchildren, click on this link and pass it on. And I never, ever click on the link. And I don't want you to do that either. Certainly, if you get a message on Facebook from someone you don't know, never click on the link. There's a terrible thing going around now that's called the "Is it you" message. And basically what the hackers have been able to do is to send a message to your Facebook Messenger saying, "Hey, I saw your picture on Facebook. Is this you?" And in some cases, they'll actually capture a screenshot off of your real Facebook page. And when you click on the link, it takes you to a place that downloads a piece of malware onto your computer, or takes you to a place that tries to get your personal information. So never click on that. But there are many other links that are notorious for causing problems. If someone you don't know, as I said before, sends you a link on Facebook, never click on it. If a friend of yours sends you a link on Facebook, actually try to get in touch with the friend another way and find out if they legitimately sent that link to you. It's the safe thing to do. There's all kinds of problems with Facebook Messenger. Be very careful. I don't want you to end up with malware on your computer. I don't want you to end up with your personal information going someplace you don't want it to go.
But wait, there are still more dangers on Facebook. The next danger is Facebook Marketplace. And it was introduced in 2007, but was a flop until it was rebooted in 2016. Since the launch, it has grown to become one of the most used selling platforms on the web. But with an increased popularity also comes an increase in the number of scams. Here are some of the scams to look out for. There are fake items all over Facebook Marketplace. There are bootleg CDs, there's fake designer clothes, and even fake technology. Check and double check to make sure that the item that you're purchasing is the one you really want to buy. I actually just got this on my Facebook feed this afternoon. It was an ad for a GoPro Hero 9 camera for $79.99. And if any of you know about action cameras, these are very expensive. They're about $400 a piece. I did check the URL, and you can see it on the top here. The URL really doesn't have a lot to do with GoPro. It isn't GoPro.com. It's mailgopro.com, something else like that, but it definitely is a fake and a fraud. So be very, very careful. Another thing to look at when you're looking at Facebook Marketplace is not only do you know what you're buying, but is there a strange payment method that's being asked for? Because some of the scammers will actually suggest some sort of a non-mainstream way of paying. Something they'll say they're going to have you do something a little bit different because they don't want to have to pay the service fees, and you can help them by avoiding some of the service fees. So use PayPal or use Facebook Checkout, and you can pretty much be assured that if the item that arrives is not what you expected, you can certainly have a better chance of getting some of your money back. Another popular request of the Facebook Marketplace scammers is to request you do an early payment for shipping. The seller wants the money up front to reserve the item or to prove that you're a serious buyer. It should be setting off your alarm clocks, and the alarm bells should be ringing. Another word of caution, like any online marketplace, I do this on Craigslist as well. If you're buying a large item, you might want to meet the seller in person. Well, you have to meet the seller in person to pick it up, but make sure that you do it in a public place that's well lit. It's there for your protection. And like any other online community, there can be predators on Facebook. And sadly, all of the major social network problems have problems with predators. Facebook is no different. According to Facebook's own terms of service, convicted sexual offenders aren't allowed to maintain a profile on the platform in practice. However, this is very, very difficult to enforce. Consider the story of the Florida man who was on probation in 2019 when his probation officer discovered he was having sexual conversations on Facebook with a 14-year-old girl from Georgia.
And of course, it's not just kids that are at risk. Facebook launched a dating service in 2019, and many adults who use online dating apps, if you're one of them, you'll be all too familiar with the problems that these services can create. There are fake profiles, sometimes lewd pictures, and inappropriate requests are commonplace. And again, never accept friend requests from people you don't know, and be suspicious of anyone who seems to know an awful lot about you and you don't know anything about them. And finally, social media is designed to be addictive. This is just a quick look at a video of a much longer video entitled, "You Wish You'd Watch This Before You Started Using Social Media." This is a YouTube video that has been viewed over 8 million times.
So you're dealing with an addicted generation.
This is a big time bomb ticking.
This is no accident. Indeed, it is by design.
I mean, seriously?
It was my mistake.
I mean, I think we can all feel it.
To try to make these products as addictive as
400%
possible.
spike in dopamine.
We now know that many of the major social media companies hire individuals called attention engineers who borrow principles from Las Vegas casino gambling, among other places, to try to make these products as addictive as possible. That is the desired use case of these products, is that you use it in an addictive fashion because that maximizes the profit that can be extracted from your attention and data.
It literally is a point now where I think we have created tools that are ripping apart the social fabric of how society works. That is truly where we are.
The way the technologist Jaron Lanier puts it is that these companies offer you shiny treats in exchange for minutes of your attention and bytes of your personal data, which can then be packaged up and sold.
What happened is that the attention economy and this race for attention got more and more competitive. And the more competitive it got to get people's attention on, say, a news website, the more they need to add these design principles, these more manipulative design tactics, as ways of holding on to your attention.
You don't realize it, but you are being programmed.
Social media tools are designed to be addictive. The actual desired use case of these tools is that you fragment your attention as much as possible throughout your waking hours. That's how these tools are designed to use. Well, we have a growing amount of research which tells us that if you spend large portions of your day in a state of fragmented attention, so large portions of your day where you're constantly breaking up your attention, take a quick glance, do a just check, let me just quickly look at Instagram, that this can permanently reduce your capacity for concentration. I am especially worried about this when we look at the younger generation coming up, which is the most saturated in this technology.
And it's very addictive because if you pull on the slot machine arm enough, you will win. And you never know which pull will reward you.
Now you can easily understand why Facebook is the king of sucking you in and keeping you there. It can keep you on the site for hours. There are just so many things to do. You can chat with friends, you can look at photos, you can post content, you can play a game, you can search for old friends, and so on and so forth. And it's so easy to let Facebook get in the way of other things in your life. Remember, it's important to do chores or to simply hang out with your friends in real life. And consequently, it's vital to limit your usage and take an occasional break. You've got to manage your time. And the list of Facebook risks can be worrisome. It may actually get you thinking about even deleting your Facebook account entirely, but you really don't need to take such a drastic step. As long as you're aware of the risks, you can continue to enjoy Facebook. Just make sure that you know what to do if you spot any of the issues so that they don't become a bigger problem in your life. So, in order to avoid the dangers on Facebook, you want to make sure that you adjust your privacy settings and review your social media account's privacy settings periodically, and make sure that you're strict about the information that you're sharing. Remove personal details from your profile and don't share things like your phone number or home address on your social media accounts. Don't accept friend requests from people that you don't know. And be skeptical. Before you take a quiz or a survey, figure out who created it. Is it a brand you trust? Is it information that you want to give away for free? And don't give answers to common security questions. Be cautious if the questions in a quiz ask for things like your mother's maiden name, the street you grew up on, or where you went to high school. And use your common sense. If someone knows more about you than you do about them, be very, very suspicious. And finally, yet again, if it's something seems too good to be true, it probably is not true. And finally, try to keep your social media accounts private. It's really important. Facebook can be a lot of fun and educational. Here's the page for my CyberSafe seniors.
Welcome to CyberSafe Seniors. The Internet of Things is growing larger every day, and I'm honored that you've stopped by to visit. My name is Robin Saunders, and my mission is to be able to provide you with the information that you need to keep yourself safe and secure on the Internet. We are an amazing generation. We've witnessed a man walking on the moon. We've used wired telephones and tube TVs and 8-track tapes, and even survived Woodstock. Now, our children might call us digital immigrants because we didn't grow up with technology, but we love the challenges and we love the convenience. My mission is to become your one-stop shop for all of your information about technology. I am a senior, I speak the same language, and I look forward to the challenge. So be senior smart and see you in cyberspace.
And for all of you, have fun on Facebook, but stay safe. Be senior smart, but be cyber smart, and see you in cyberspace.
Take a look. You're hooked on Facebook. Take a look on Facebook.